Chelsea, I do have one question. Oh, okay, I couldn't find the price.
All right.
Okay. We'll go ahead and call the August 12th, 2019 meeting of the Mooresville Redevelopment Commission to order. First item on the agenda are the minutes from our July 18th, 2019 executive session and the July 18th regular session of the commission. These have been circulated prior to the meeting. If you've had an opportunity to review them, I'll accept the motion.
Motion to accept the July 18th executive session and public meeting minutes.
I have a motion to approve the minutes for the executive session and regular session of July 18th. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Any questions, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda are the financials. I believe those were just distributed. I'll give you a moment to review. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the financials.
We have a motion to approve the financials as distributed. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda, public comment. Seeing none, we'll move on. Next item on the agenda, Southbridge Crossing. I am pleased to announce that the Redevelopment Commission has sold the Southbridge Crossing shopping area. The purchase price was $2,060,000. Purchaser is Southbridge Crossing Partners, LLC. The sale was finalized last Thursday, and the sale has been completed. So we're very pleased with that. I want to thank the commission for your efforts with that. I particularly want to thank Chelsea for all the hours that she put in to make possible the sale of Southbridge Crossing, and the multiple times she had to do paperwork in order to make the sale final. So Chelsea, thank you for yeoman's work on getting the property sold. And I believe this will be the last time Southbridge Crossing is on our agenda. Hopefully. So again, thank you, Chelsea.
I'd like to say thank you to the commission and congratulations. This was a really big redevelopment commission when you purchased it for a reason, to get Ivy Tech a storefront space when we were possibly going to lose them to somewhere else. Really rehabbed what was becoming a dilapidated strip center. So kudos to you guys for having the vision, for seeing it through, and now it's back in the private sector's hands, and it's a huge redevelopment. So congratulations to you all.
Next item on the agenda, Gateway Projects update. Chelsea?
For Bicentennial Park, I'm still working with Brent Callahan at the Parks Department on the benches that will go in the decomposed granite area. So we're working on getting some quotes Brent's been getting quotes to make that a stamped concrete area to really hold the benches. So he has one quote, I'm gonna get a couple more, so we can put that to rest. So that's all for Bicentennial Park. For State Road 42 High Street, in reviewing the plans, Banning Engineering caught that they being NDOT is not going to be doing a complete and total sidewalk replacement on the south side of High Street. So if you'll remember, the redevelopment, this is again an NDOT project, State Road 42, bridge to bridge, letting in December of 2020. The redevelopment commission is participating with a walking path on the north side of the road, and lighting, which NDOT would not be doing otherwise. The lighting NDOT would not be doing. On the south side of the road, they are doing the sidewalk, they being NDOT. However, they are not doing a total replacement, so they're only doing it where it's disrupted during construction or at approaches, so driveway approaches. After going back and forth, it would be my recommendation, I asked the commission to consider paying the difference, which is $80,000, to complete the sidewalks on the south side of the road. This is gonna be an $8 million project, NDOT project. I think from an aesthetic standpoint, it's gonna look a lot better to have all of the sidewalks redone as opposed to getting piecemeal. So, I'd ask for your consideration in adding that to our portion, Redevelopment Commission's portion of the project.
Questions for Chelsea on that?
What'd you say on the driveway approaches? They
So-
are doing or not
So
doing?
that's where they are doing that. So, for example, if there's 2 or 3 squares leading up to the sidewalk, or sidewalk squares leading up to an approach, those will be replaced. But then let's say there's 3 before the next driveway, those 3 are not going to be replaced. So it's just very piecemeal, the way that they're doing it.
Sidewalks to nowhere.
Not sidewalks nowhere, but.
If we voted to do that, NDOT would still be putting in the sidewalks, they would just do it all the
Correct.
way across.
Correct. It would just be completed. Yeah, and I've tried to push back and get them to just do it because it looks silly to not just do it all, but that's not gone anywhere, so. And this doesn't require a vote this evening.
Well, I would suggest that we go ahead and take care of it, if the commission is amenable to that. And I think one of the reasons to consider this is, putting in new sidewalks, number one, aesthetically is going to be more pleasing. But the other thing is, we don't know how old the other parts of the sidewalks are. Maintenance is going to be different on the older parts of the sidewalk. We're going to get more length of time out of the new sidewalks before any major or significant improvements are going to have to be made on the new sidewalks. So I think from not only an aesthetic standpoint, but from a long-term maintenance standpoint, we're much better off doing all of the sidewalks at once instead of piecemealing them and then having to come in at odd times and potentially fixing sidewalks in the future.
I'll make a motion to approve the additional funds needed to replace all of the south side sidewalks on the NDOT project.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Additional discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention, motion passes.
That's all I have for High Street.
Okay? Anything else for Gateway?
No.
Old business. Is this in the packet, Chelsea?
This is, yes.
The banning?
Yes.
In your packet, there is a packet, agreement with Banning Engineering for limited engineering services for infrastructure related to the Mooresville Industrial Park, AKA the Poly property. The amount of the contract would be not to exceed $69,600. Chelsea, do you want to explain the scope of services?
So this really complements the infrastructure necessary for the Shell building. So this is for primary plat, master grading, and drainage design for north-south road design into where the Shell building will be, off-site sanitary sewer design plans, filings and approvals, secondary plat drawing, bidding and negotiations, construction admin, and a little bit of room for reimbursable expenses. This does not include on-site construction observation. so I will note that.
And there is a breakdown of all those services in your packet.
Commissioner Gutzeler, you have the one that I added it up on, I believe it was 69,600.
That's correct. Is there a motion to approve the limited professional engineering services from Banning Engineering in the amount of $69,600 related to infrastructure on the Mooresville Industrial Park, AKA Poly property?
I'll make that motion.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second. Additional discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda, Shell Building, Resolution 2019-5. Legal counsel?
Yes, I'd like, if, Greg, if you're available, Rich Starkey out of our office has done many of these projects and is the primary attorney on this. He's out for his son's wedding this week. Greg Marks is here. We previously had an RFP process back in December and January, I believe, in which Runenbaum was the winner of. And then last meeting, we approved First Merchants Bank, correct?
Yes, correct.
As the bank to be involved in our BOT. I asked Greg to go over the BOT agreement and the participation in purchase agreement that we'd be approving tonight.
And from our perspective, we reviewed the documents that your legal firm and also your financial advisor have reviewed, and we're fine exactly as they're written. So from our perspective, I think this version, if it's approved by the bank, we're ready to execute upon your approval tonight. The only other thing I can think of, and Adam, correct me if you think any differently here, I think the only other approval after this is that Baker Tilly will notify IFA of your approval tonight, IFA being the Indiana Finance Authority. And I believe that Baker Tilly said that would probably be about 7 to 10 days before they hear back from IFA. Once that approval has happened, then I'm thinking that the execution of the documents can happen almost immediately when we receive their approval.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the building itself?
Yes, so the building is 75,000 square feet, but it's expandable. We're saying expandable to a couple 100,000 square feet, but really we could probably expand it even farther than that if we get the right tenant. The construction process, we're ready right now to order the precast, literally right now. So that will be our intent, is as soon as we're done executing the documents, as soon as possible, ordering the precast. That's the critical path item right now. As you all know, construction has, it's stronger than I've ever seen in my entire life. Hopefully it will continue that way, but one of the downsides is there's so much precast being ordered right now, we're thinking it's going to take 9 months before it's even on site. So the sooner that we can get that ordered, the better. The good news is, though, once it's on site, you won't believe how fast it'll go up. It'll be just within a few weeks, and it'll look like a building. So.
Questions for Greg? Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Legal, anything else on this?
Oh, so, like Greg said, this involves a pledge of your TIF, which from the sewer bonds that you guys did a while ago, where you pledged TIF to the repayment of the bonds, and SRF and the IFA reserve the right to consent to any other pledges, and so that's what Baker Tilly is going through. So we can still approve and adopt the resolution tonight, but essentially won't be effective until we receive their blessing.
Okay. And Baker and Tilly have looked at all the financials, and there's sufficient coverage to meet all the requirements for the bond. So is there a motion to approve resolution 2019-5?
Motion to approve resolution number 2019-05.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second to approve resolution 2019-5, resolution of the Mooresville Redevelopment Commission regarding pledge of TIF revenues to the Shell building and other actions related thereto. Is there additional discussion, questions? If not, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Abstention?
Aye.
There's one abstention. Bill? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is Design Committee from the Mooresville Main Street. If you will recall, at our last meeting, Diane Herkamp came to the meeting with some suggestions that the Mooresville Main Street had some money left in their account related to gateway improvements, which they undertook. She had several suggestions, and Chelsea, I don't have those in front of me, but there was one gateway sign, 2 facing parking signs, some bronze plaques, and QR codes. At our last meeting, we deferred any decision or discussion related to that. And it just so happened, in front of you, you'll see a picture that I took while I was traveling on business one day, and this is from the city of Batesville. Light poles and standards and banners very similar to what we have. And I thought, this really caught my eye, and I was very intrigued by this project. For those of you who cannot see it, it is, and I'd be more than happy to let anyone come and take a look. But it is a banner honoring veterans that from the community that served, and I just thought it was a really neat idea. And one of the things that I would like the commission to consider is if this is something that we would like the Main Street group to look at or to consider in lieu of one of the other options or in addition to one of the other options. The other thing that came to my mind is that, you know, we do not have any American flag banners for these posts. I thought that that might also be a good way that Main Street might be able to participate and utilize those funds that they have remaining instead of the parking signs or some of the other things that they have provided to us. And my thought with this banner, for example, honoring veterans, they might be able to work with the Chamber of Commerce, the VFW, the American Legion, if this was something that they thought they might like to undertake to get names and pictures and dates of service of those kind of things, and see if this is a project that they might like to undertake instead of those other ones. So I just, by happenstance, I was driving through the community and saw these, it caught my eye, and since that request had been before us for the Main Street organization, I thought, well, I'd bring it up to the commission tonight and get your thoughts and feedback, or if you wanted to talk about or move forward with one of their other requests, we could certainly do that too. Or we could defer any discussion to another meeting.
Sorry, I was just gonna add, because you don't have it in front of you, and I apologize. So the balance remaining was $4,839.98. So their proposal was to finish the bronze plaques totaling just shy of $1,500, and to do the QR codes at $45 each. They had also discussed doubling the parking signs that we have. So the parking signs that we have face the street, so to turn them and to add a sign to the other side, so that when you're driving, you can better see the parking signs. And I did talk to Dave Moore, and he said that was something that the street department could assist in the labor and installation of, so.
Well, I would think that anything we could do to honor veterans would be the best thing, and I think that, you know, and I don't know why I should say this, but I think they would be very open to that, so I think we should at least, you know, present that option and see what their thoughts are. And if they could partner with VFW or anyone else, that'd be even greater.
Do you guys believe that doing this in addition to those other suggestions might be appropriate or as opposed to instead of?
Well, I think it gets down to how much money is available is probably
Right.
the big question.
Yeah.
And how do they want to allocate those dollars? And if this is something they want to consider, or would consider, you know, researching how much the banners would cost.
Do we know how much our last set of banners cost?
You're gonna ask me that? I'm gonna say 6,000, and that's total,
How much?
6,000.
I think that's about right.
Yeah, I think it was.
And that was for one set, so that was not for
Right.
the holiday ones and the everyday ones, that was for one set. We were right around 6,000.
I love the idea, Harold. I don't know the best way to implement it.
Well, Dustin, you have any thoughts?
I really like this, probably the top idea would be the banners and the American flag banners. I like the bronze plaques. I don't know about QR codes.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to communities with QR codes and I've never seen anybody stop and say, I really want to do this. So,
Dr. Moore? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Probably with older people, I don't think you're going to see that. And I can only speak for myself, but I've often been criticized for reading a sign too long or looking too long at a QR, so.
You know, we have a lot of veterans and American Legion, VFW, all the organizations really respect and work hard to honor them. I think this would be a good idea.
So is there a consensus to ask Main Street to at least look into this?
Yes.
Okay. Chelsea, would you relay that on to Main Street?
I most certainly will.
And Dustin, I would agree with you on the QR codes. I think it's, and I'm not going to claim that I'm old, and that's why I don't want to look at
But
it.
you're not far behind.
It's just I'm not a fan of putting something like that on a structure, so.
especially.
But I think in speaking positively for them, there's a lot of information to be gained, and once someone gets used to doing that, you know, but like I said, your younger members of the family may say, come on, move on.
Okay. Chelsea will have a conversation with Main Street. New business. Do we have any new business? Anyone? I guess I didn't ask if there was any additional old business that I may have missed. Legal? Anything else?
Not that we need it for any particular reason, but I would like a ratification of the sale of Southbridge, just to put a bow on it.
Harold said we weren't gonna bring it up again.
He said it wouldn't be on the agenda.
I said it wouldn't be on the agenda
Oh,
again.
okay, sorry.
Any future meetings.
Do we have a motion to ratify the sale of Southbridge Crossing?
Motion to ratify the sale of Southbridge Crossing.
I'm not sure what happens if we don't. Do we give the money back?
I'll second.
We have a motion to ratify and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of ratifying the sale of Southbridge Crossing in the amount of $2,060,000? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention, motion passes. Thank you for reminding me.
No problem.
Anything else? Legal?
No other update.
Chelsea?
Aside from Stockbridge, I've been spending a lot of time with planning engineering on the coordination for the road design and sewer design. So lots of meetings, lots of meetings with property owners, and things are moving right along. So otherwise, I don't have much of an update. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Chelsea? Seeing none. Next item on the agenda, review of claims. We have claims in the amount of $73,941.89. I believe you have all had an opportunity to review those claims. Is there a motion?
Make a motion that we approve claims.
We have a motion to approve claims. Is there a second?
Second?
There's a second. Any discussion, questions? Seeing none, all in favor of approving claims in the amount of $73,941.89? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention, motion passes. Anything for the good of the order?
I will actually have something. I want to thank Chelsea again. I've served now for, this is my 8th meeting. And yes, the town has been a little busier, but it still astonishes me that I have found somebody that is even busier than most of us. So thank you for not charging by the hour.
You're welcome, and thank you. I appreciate that.
Anything else for the good of the order? Nothing? Our next meeting is a change of date from our normally scheduled meetings. Our next meeting will be on Thursday, September the 12th, 2019 at 6 p.m. in this office or in this building. Should an executive session be needed, one will be posted and advertised. If there's nothing else, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
We are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Erica, there's